Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what I saw on TV. And it is midnight. It's past Ash Wednesday, so it's Thursday now. But I had this thing where I saw on television how they were talking about R. Kelly and what was going on with him. And first, let me start off by saying this: anyone who is an abuser, a continuous abuser, needs to get help. Needs to get help. Period. And they should go punished. With that being said, I'm going to proceed, okay? Some people are talking about, oh, how he was acting crazy, and, Gail was so composed. He was acting all crazy after, he did, it looked like he was doing this whole performance, talking about he gave his whole life and, everything. And, they're like, people are still saying, oh, he's the worst person in the world. Some people are saying, he needs a break, he needs this. And overall, still people are still saying he needs to be punished. And this is what brings me to the next thing that I'm going to say. Okay. We all know that to some point, whether you believe this man or not, whether you're believing that he should be free or not, we all understand that R. Kelly has some issues, okay? He's had some issues, okay? And they are being brought to light. Should he be punished? Of course. If you have these issues and you, just like an everyday person, no one is above the law. Okay? So, if that is the case, why isn't the people who aided him in pulling off this whole masquerade, why haven't they been taken down too? What happened to the attorneys who knew and still covered up? What happened about, who went beyond the law standards of covering their client, because it had to be some of that going on. What about the people who falsified documents about an underage girl? It was a person that just and blatantly admitted, what about the parents who knowing that their kids were underage with a man who was fully grown, take advantage of them? What happens with them? And I'm not saying that, because some of these people were young adults, but there were quite a few that were 17 and under, 16 and under, 14 and under, 13 and under. What happens with pulling the furthest extent of the law to these individuals? Is it because they don't have any value or perceived value that they won't attract enough attention? Or are we really upholding the law? Because the law states that parents are supposed to protect, and if this does happen, and you willingly know and you're a willing participant of somebody who has abused your daughter or somebody that's underage in your care, you, as the provider, as the guardian, as the protector, shall be punished. So that is the question that I'm asking. Where is the other justice behind that? Sometimes we fail to realize that, and I'm not taking any. People are going to say, it's taking, Bo, you're taking away from this person, and you're trying to justify. I'm not justifying anything. I think that if you've done wrong, you need to do your time. You need to serve your time. You need to face what you've done and make recompense. It was a lot of people. The public was turning a blind eye. A lot of people turned a blind eye to it. Because why? Because he was a politician. Think about if this happened and R. Kelly, the person who was supposed to be that is the alleged accused antagonist in this whole thing, if he didn't have money, if he was not successful, if he didn't have this career that everyone knew about, would he be getting attacked that way? Would you would you not? Would he be getting attacked that way? Would he be freed the way that he is? Would he, would you take it? Would you tolerate the abuse that he has put on these people? And the answer is usually no. No. But we always turn a blind eye to that. Look at politics today, okay? We got politicians in our area, not only in just the Western Hemisphere, all across the globe, that they're doing unethical standards. They're telling you things that sound good, who feel good, but then they're doing the total opposite. Like a Jekyll and Hyde. But we sit there and we turn a blind eye because we say, well, this is business, this is politics. Everyone doesn't tell the truth. You know, this is how the business goes. Until it comes to your front, you know, until it goes and it jeopardizes what you're trying to do, what is hurting you. You know, people never care about the people whose jobs have been already affected because of this kind of abuse, you know, from politicians. No, they don't care about it until their jobs are getting done, you know. And that is what's wrong with our society today. We have to be more proactive and be honest with ourselves and hold people accountable for what they've done. You know, going through this, no one can abuse you. Now, for those underage girls, yes, they were highly uneducated, and I'm saying uneducated as not ignorant, as not knowing the knowledge of how a manipulator works. When you're young, your parents are supposed to guide you and protect you in that way. When you don't have that, and when you don't have that structure, you are left vulnerable to those kind of sources. You are weaker in those sources because you haven't had any training with those. So I'm not saying that they're, you know, dumb or anything. I'm just saying they're ignorant. They're being manipulated. And when you don't know, because knowledge is power, and without knowledge, there's ignorance. Without knowledge, there's no power. Yeah, you leave yourself destitute to a lot of things. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Like, people don't really sit back and think, like, don't think about short-term expectations. And it makes me think about, not even that, this man has been hurting people this long. These people knew. Our politicians knew. Why are they bringing it up? You gotta think, like, and it's good that it's coming out, but what I'm saying is, why sprinkle a little bit light and then try to turn away? No, blast that light all the way open. Get everybody from the front end to the back end out. From the front to the back end. That's how you clean a closet. You don't go and just, you know, sprinkle a little potpourri in a dirty closet and close the door and say, oh, it's clean because it smells clean. It looks, you know, you rearrange a little bit of clothes. It looks a little bit good and we all right. No. You got to take everything out and clean and inspect and look at it. So that's what we need to do as viewers when we're getting this information fed to us, because that's what the news really is. They're feeding information to us, meaning that we don't all know the whole deals of that. We don't know the whole, you know, the whole background of it. So